Welcome to the December 29th, 2020 episode of Reactive Consciousness, the in-depth podcast about what happened this week in our lives, the last one of the year, Lotus. I'm your host, vysethebold, and this is...
The last one of the year. Lotus Prince. We both introduce our names with that phrase now.
They do exist. So, I hope everybody had a fun and safe holiday season. It's not all wrapped up. Of course, we still have New Year's, which everybody celebrates. So
are you kidding me? I thought a couple days ago they made a huge point of unwrapping.
Well, some of us like to re-gift, so therefore we have to rewrap.
That's that's a fair point.
In fact, I wait for everybody to give me gifts first, and then I rewrap them.
Oh, don't worry, yours is coming in the mail. I say you'll get your gift
exactly
soon.
The same thing.
What a coincidence! How does he always give me the same thing, and always like 5 days after I give it to him? I don't know.
What an asshole! If you do that, honestly,
doesn't cost me a cent, except for shipping.
It's not even just like cheap. It's just like blatantly like just asinine.
You know what I did, yeah.
It's not even you didn't even switch people. Like,
you're the same person.
Look what I got you. The exact thing you got me. We just happen to be on the same wavelength.
Yeah, every time. But I got you something that I know you hadn't heard of. Well, I suddenly heard of it. What do you want from me?
So anyway, let's get it off the top with some depressing news. So yeah, we don't really have much more news about the big things like Cyberpunk. Other than that, the only other thing that I read is that there is a class action lawsuit going on in New York, about defrauding investors, that kind of thing. But I
doubt that's going to go anywhere.
Yeah, especially considering the game, I think, sold something like 17 million copies already.
Like, who was defrauded, specifically?
I think it's just... I don't think there's anything that you can get them on, because, like, sales are still through the roof. Like, regardless of offering the refund, how many people do you honestly believe, like, percentage-wise?
Yeah. And not only that, like, I mean, I understand where they're coming from, where they only showed the game working on the current-gen systems and not the PS4, but, like, they didn't try playing it off like it would work perfectly on the PS4, and then it didn't. Like, there was some stuff to get mad about, but defrauding, I don't think so.
Yeah, no, I think it's going to be thrown out. I don't think there's any basis in it, and not only that, but it's not like they're not actively working on the game.
Yeah, I mean, like, I'd be mad if I had it for console myself, but like,
it'll also
a whiny
be fixed
enough
up in
little
the next
bitch
couple
to
months.
sue them.
Yeah, come on. In February, it'll be a perfect working game. I bet you.
Well, it'll be a better working game.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, that's basically it for Cyberpunk. Nothing of any substance, if you ask me. But yeah, US Gamer is now defunct. The last of the really awesome people that were working there, unfortunately, have stopped working there. So you have Kat Bailey and Nadia Oxford, in particular, who were basically the last people left.
Now, you said US Gamer, but you clearly just said Oxford. Get your story straight.
It's Nadia Oxford. That's her last name, and she's Canadian.
Oh man, now that's a whole nother set of problems.
But
what country is it?
It's no man's land. But yeah, this is depressing just because there aren't a whole lot of video game outlets, like the old school video game outlets, still around. Not that I go there too many, except I do like going to Kotaku and Silicon Era and US Gamer 4, and one other one, Operation Rainfall. I do like their...
Oh, that's still a thing?
Yeah, Operation Rainfall has actually posted quite a bit.
I only ever knew that as the operation to get those Wii games localized.
Yeah, no, they're really good at getting a lot of the fringe news that I take a look at. A lot of the retro release kind of stuff, the obscure import kind of stuff that I like. So a lot of the news that I check comes from actually, what's great about both Silicon Era and Operation Rainfall is they both tend to give like full reports on everything that's released on Switch every week.
Mm-hmm.
So like that's important to what I report on.
Yeah.
What I like to relay, and also my own interests. Like I don't know of any other place that like gives you a convenient list of everything that, and also commentary that is useful on a weekly basis, and also all organized and all that stuff. So
Right.
I think those are great resources for what we put together in the podcast every week. So I use them. I go there. I also go to Retro RGP just for the modding stuff.
Sure.
So, but I think this really stinks because their podcasts were particularly good. And they were like it was kind of like the spiritual successor to OneUp.com, which was my favorite back in the day. So I liked going there because they had honest and insightful reviews, and you don't always get that, and you don't know who. I mean, when you go to IGN, like a lot of times it's just like who even wrote this? I don't even know these people, and US Gamer was writer focused. It was personality focused. So like I knew who was coming out with the interviews. I knew their style, what they liked. So
that is a real problem when you have a giant team and it says IGN gives it this rating, but like why does IGN's taste seem to be so wildly different? And it gave this game a bad review when it gave a game like it a good review because it was a different reviewer, and you just don't know who it is.
Exactly.
So like you can't really base any of your opinions on IGN because it's many people who have different opinions. You can't just say IGN gave it whatever.
Yeah, I mean, like even back in the day, like a big magazine like EGM would tell you who was reviewing things, and like it would be consistent. Like they wouldn't have new people all the time. IGN has new people, new freelancers all the frickin' time.
Yeah, I mean, and that's fine, but like you need to get a hold of, or you need to get a feel for which reviewer feels what about what kind of game.
Exactly.
So when I see that person again, you have like a baseline to work off of.
Yeah, and it's a big shame because their website had a podcast called OneUp.com had a Japanese or an RPG focused podcast, and it was mostly like JRPGs, but they dabbled in Western stuff too. But called Active Time Babble, which was like a clever name. But then US Gamer had kind of a successor to that called Axe of the Blood God, and they would talk about like RPGs every week, and they were really really insightful with both Nadia Oxford and Kat Bailey. And like I knew their perspective, I knew what they liked, so I could base my their reviews off of what I viewed their perceptions to be and that kind of thing. And they're both very smart, so and insightful. So I just I really trust their opinions, and it's a shame that an outlet like this shut down. I mean, Eurogamer is one of the biggest outlets we have still left. I mean, we have IGN and GameSpot are still exist, but I don't go there. I don't. There's nothing for me to get there. I go to Kotaku just out of convenience, but I really mostly like. I used to like Giant Bomb, but like the people that I really loved there kind of left. So not that I don't still like who's there. It's just not the same. Like the people that I really stuck around for. Just moved on. So it stinks. We're in a landscape where the YouTuber is the kind of like the replacement for this kind of thing, and it's good and it's bad. I mean, you have somebody who has carte blanche to kind of come up with their own content and without many restrictions other than what YouTube allows and what their the community will uphold. But the downside is that we're losing real jobs. We're real places that we're offering employment opportunities, stability for families. I mean, you know what it's like in the YouTube space. You can't make a living off of it unless you're extremely successful. I mean,
Yeah.
You have quite the following, and you couldn't live off of what you do. So
Yeah, because it's
really,
more about the views than the following.
Yeah, it's about views, and it's also like some people will have like robust enough Patreons, I guess. But
yeah, well,
like,
that's what it comes down to for a lot of YouTubers. Like, for example, like my view count is typically not even a tenth of what my following is.
Yeah. It's really, it's mostly like getting around the algorithm. Like you kind of, and you have to keep up with like the times on the algorithm.
Yeah, and you'd really think you wouldn't have to actively fight the site that's hosting your videos, but here we are.
Yeah, I mean, I always kind of think one of these days I hope there becomes a premium streaming service with like just like vetted people, like vetted content that is just like like people that the owner of the website likes, and then you can subscribe to that, and then that's that. But so those people can make a living, and you can go on there and know it's not like Nazi content too.
Yeah, no shit.
It's all vetted.
What we need is viable competition, because competition breeds improvement.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm the website that doesn't have the Nazis. Oh, really?
I think that's fantastic. I always said that like one of the things that the streaming services were really bad at, like Netflix and stuff like that, was curation. And so they have like tons and tons of content, but like you never know if some of it's there, and like some of it's like old, so you don't know that they have it. Unless you look in the right spot or you specifically search for it. So you have like something like HBO Max that has like a ton of old Warner Brothers content going all the way back to the 30s. And like, how are you supposed to find it? Well, now recently they've started catching on to like what I've wanted, which is just like all-time classics, because because you like crime movies, they'll pick out stuff.
Yeah, the recommended stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, which is awesome. It's getting better. It's also like, these are great crime movies. This is great holiday movies. These they're starting to do like holiday episodes. Like you could go on like Disney Plus, and they'll have like all of the Simpsons holiday episodes combined,
which includes the first episode of the entire series.
Exactly. So, it's really neat how they're starting to do that, which is like my big complaint. So, I think this is what needs to happen with streaming in the future. Is you need to have some kind of curation, because like there's no hope of finding somebody like you unless somebody tells them about it, right?
Yeah.
You're not going to get a random person's attention.
The only way I would is if I happen to post something similar to what a far more popular YouTuber does,
exactly.
And it's like recommended. Someone else was talking about this. Like that's how my Resident Evil 2 video exploded. Like,
and you happen to be high up on the list. Like they're only them and you have done it.
Yeah, like exactly. That kind of either that, or I have to find something esoteric enough that like I'm the only search result.
Yeah, I mean, even I don't get
Stone Key Bones of the Ancestors.
Like the channels that I really want to follow, that I want to get the updates from, I don't. Like, it doesn't come up in my feed. I get instead like all kinds of other nonsense.
Yeah.
Even some of the stuff that I've already listened to or watched. So, yeah, that needs to change. But this is really a shame, because US Gamer was a carefully crafted website made of good, intelligent reviewers, made by good, intelligent reviewers that wanted to put something intelligent together. And it got shut down. It stinks. That was actually the biggest news of this week, because like it's holiday week. Not a whole lot happened. I mean, there was a Nintendo Switch outage on the eShop because like so many people were turning on new Switches.
Oh yeah, I heard
That's
about that. The
to be
the big
expected.
response I saw to that was like, how does Nintendo not have like a scaling sort of level of acceptable bandwidth, like to buffer themselves for the holidays?
I mean, they're Nintendo. They've never been good at
They don't know
online.
what
Number
they're
one.
like. I mean, you're right. That really is what it boils down to. But like,
Also,
that
one day.
argument theoretically should get weaker as time passes. Like, it's been
It's
a
true.
fucking decade. Figure it out.
Well, I think it's mostly like, um, is it worth it to like scale for like one day when you know you're gonna make all the same money anyway, and
Yeah,
it's gonna
pain in the
ratchet
ass.
down. It is a pain in the ass, but are Switch sales hurting? Absolutely not. You still
Yeah,
can't find one, and it's what 4 years later.
yeah, that's insane.
You can't find one now.
I haven't
And
even been looking because I've just been waiting for a
yeah,
discount,
but
which is not happening. So whatever.
you can't find one.
I have like over 10 Switch games, some of which I've owned for years. Oh well, lol.
we bought one for my father-in-law for Christmas, and I had to search really hard to find one, and I got one online very luckily one day from Best Buy, and I had it for in-store pickup, so I was able to find that, but like they sold out in minutes, yeah, and like I'm sure there were tons of kids that really wanted one that couldn't get one, adults too. I mean, it's just one of those things. But all the systems are like that this year, especially with the pandemic. Like, what else is there to do other than play video games? So, you know, I just think it's kind of funny. But I completely understand why Nintendo had those problems. But it's just one of those things. Plus, everybody's downloading like very large like updates and stuff like that on that first day, rather than just like games and new games. I guess they bought and all that kind of stuff. People using their e-cards. So I'm sure that all calms down eventually. But speaking of, there were some really cool new games on Switch. Rather, some cool old games that just made it on the Switch. So I kind of wanted to go over them. First of all, being one of my actually all-time favorite games is Double Dragon Neon.
Yeah,
Which
that's
is
I
like
think
one
the
of our
only Double
favorite games.
Dragon game I've ever played any amount of. It's very good.
It's the best Double Dragon game, like bar
Hands
none.
down.
Yeah. It's what you wish Double Dragon always was. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah, like even when people say, "Oh, the good Double Dragons are this one and this one on the NES," and they don't
Double Dragon 2
look
is
anything
the
they
best
don't
one.
look anything special to me.
Yeah, I mean, it's just it's an early beat 'em up, so like actually, Mighty Final Fight's a better game if you ask me on the NES, but as far as beat 'em ups go, like the Ninja Turtle games are better.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Turtles 2 and 3 are better games, and the Batman Returns is a better game. Actually, Battletoads and Double Dragon on NES is
That's
probably
a
the best
sick
beat 'em
game,
up on
yeah.
the system. Yeah, I absolutely love that, and I don't understand how the SNES and Genesis versions are worse. I don't understand. Like, the NES version rules. It's really, really fucking good. And then you play the Genesis and SNES ones, and they're garbage. They suck. I don't get it. But yeah, Double Dragon Neon, it just has an awesome soundtrack. First of all, the music is amazing.
Yes. Oh man.
It's so good. It's very listenable on its own. It's very 80s
Yeah.
inspired. In fact, the entire game is very 80s inspired, and just has a
There's
one of the
there's a little touch of 70s in there sometimes too, like in the final
yeah
dungeon.
yeah. It's almost like early 80s, like like 81 or 80. But like yeah, it's amazing. I really love the music, especially, and it's one of the funniest games I've ever played too. It's hilarious. It's really really really
Yeah, it's
funny.
actually laugh out loud funny, and not even necessarily because of the explicit jokes.
No, it's just it like the continue screen makes me laugh out loud every single fucking time.
Oh yeah,
it's so funny.
Yeah, it's one of those arcade continue screens like Ninja Gaiden or Final
like,
Fight where there's a bomb going off or there's a buzzsaw coming
and
down.
You gotta save
Press
the main
continue to
character.
not die. But in this one, the final boss is ready to like poke you in the eyes like Three Stooges. And if you save yourself, then your brother
also,
comes in.
Also, you don't want to be poked in the eyes by him because
by bone
like
fingers.
Claws.
But like if you press continue in time, then your brother jumps in and like does that
Three
thing
Stooges
like again with the Three Stooges where like he has like a vertical like karate chop pose and he like blocks the two fingers like haha. It's so dumb.
It's so good. The resuscitate action is like winding up an unspooled
a pencil and a cassette tape.
Cassette tape, yeah, exactly. There's RPG elements, so there's a replay, which is great. Skullmageddon might be my favorite villain of all time. He's Skeletor, but he's hilarious.
I should say he's Skeletor, but he's intentionally hilarious. Although, to be fair, though, Skeletor did have his fair share of like intentionally funny moments.
Yeah, but he's just straight up Skeletor. They're not even hiding it with like.
Yeah, it was kind of funny because when I first heard the voice, I was disappointed because I was like, well, not every skeleton needs to sound like Skeletor. But then I realized the whole game has an '80s vibe, and I'm like, oh, okay.
Yeah. There's just like that game is just so much fun. He taunts you, but he also like complains about like you destroying his stuff.
Like when you're punching him, ow, my fibula. Like what?
Do yourself a favor, pick this game up. It's one of the best beat 'em ups of all time. It stood the test of time. Like I just played it the other day, and it's still really good. It has a deep combat system as well, so don't think that it's just funny because of the embellishments, or good because of the embellishments. It's actually like a really, really great beat 'em up game, it's just really great. It has everything that you could ever want out of a beat 'em up game. Plus, it has a lineage to it. So, it's a lot of fun, and it's finally out on Switch. It was out. It hasn't been on a modern system in a while. I think you could still buy it on PC, but I don't think there's a PS4 version. So this is a good opportunity for everybody. I don't think they have announced a physical copy of it because I would definitely buy one. I don't think there's ever been a physical copy of this game. So.
That's a very conspicuous like missing title in that regard.
What I find hilarious is Double Dragon 4, which is an awful game, has a physical version and this doesn't. And this is probably the best game in the series, and it's just awesome. Another good one, if you're going to look out for it, is Double Dragon Advance, the Game Boy Advance version. That one's really, really good too, but it doesn't hold a candle to this game. This game's really, really awesome. Moving on from that, there has been another Neo Geo Pocket Color game thrown onto the eShop for Switch. This time being Fatal Fury First Contact. So this is great because it's a Fatal Fury focused one. All of the Neo, all of the SNK fighting games for Neo Geo have been really, really great. Neo Geo Pocket Color have been really, really great. I hope that they start to do non-fighting games because I could see probably some diminishing returns.
Everything has, now that you mention it, every single thing has been a fighting game so far.
Yeah, and I understand that their bread and butter are the fighting games.
Yeah, SNK has like 5 non-fighting games.
I mean, honestly, if you're an SNK fan, you should be happy with that because that's what you're there for.
Yeah, it's like buying a TurboGrafx specifically for the games that aren't shooters. It's like, well, they do exist, I guess.
But they haven't. They've done Last Blade, Samurai Showdown 2,
Gals Fighters,
and King of Fighters.
And now Fatal Fury. Yeah,
and now Fatal Fury. So we need another one, and I think it's ripe to have the Metal Slug games.
I was going to say that baseball game.
I don't. Did they do a baseball game? Did they do Baseball Stars? Yeah, they did Baseball Stars.
It's got to be Sengoku 1, 2, and 3.
They didn't do. There weren't any beat 'em ups on that system. I don't think.
On the Neo Geo.
On the Neo Geo Pocket Color.
A Pocket Color. Excuse me. I'm thinking regular Neo Geo. Never mind.
Yeah. No. Actually, Sengoku 1, 2, and 3 are already on the Switch. Don't worry. Yeah.
Well, all right.
Yeah. No. Almost every regular Neo Geo game that you could ever want is already on the Switch.
Wake me when they get Cyber Lip.
It's already on there.
Are you fucking serious?
I'm not even joking. It's already on there. I honestly can't think of too many unlicensed like games that you would really, really want that aren't on there. Like you could get all the really good sports games are from that from the Neo Geo are on there already. All the fighting games. All the SNK ones are on there already, and
very nice.
Also, all the Sunsoft fighting games that were on there are in there. All the puzzle games, all the Bust-A-Move games, like all those.
Yeah, I was gonna mention with the puzzle games, like Bust-A-Move is one of those, isn't it?
Yeah. Puzzle Link, I think, is on there. Magical Drop is probably the most famous one other than Bust-A-Move, and that's on there. Both Magical Drop games, 2 and 3, are on there. So I like almost everything. All the shmups. There were not that many shmups on the Neo Geo platform, but I think every single one of them is on there. Windjammers is on there, obviously.
Wow.
So yeah, I think almost everything except some outliers like Super Dodgeball is not on there, which I wish was on there. The Double Dragon fighting game isn't on there, but good luck.
Yeah, it's licensed. Yeah,
it's licensed. So is Super Double Dragon. It's a.
When are they gonna have the Robert Patrick Double Dragon fighting game?
Exactly. That game's actually not bad. It's better than the movie, actually. But there's also the sequel to that, which is called the unofficial sequel called Revenge of Dragons Revenge of the Dragons, and that's not on there. Though we did hear some news about that a little while ago, saying that somebody acquired the rights, but I doubt it. But we're talking about Neo Geo Pocket Color games. There's the card battle games.
Yep.
I wish would go on there, but they would need to team up with Capcom, and that's obviously a lot more difficult. The Match of the Millennium, the SNK versus Capcom game, which is phenomenal, one of the best fighting games of all time. Not even just like Neo Geo Pocket Color games. Like it's really good. There's just there's a couple RPGs too that were really good that are like Facily Facily, I think is what it's called. Is really good. Unitron. So we'll see, but I think most of the I don't think there are any more SNK fighters that we need to get on there. I think all the major ones are there. Also, on Switch, the original Bit Trip games. I don't know if you played these back in the day. They were really popular on the Wii.
I might have dabbled with them once, like at your place in college or something.
Yeah, that sounds right. Because they had like the first one was a Bit Trip Beat, which was a rhythm game, but it could you played it like a ball and bat game, kind of like Breakout or whatever, or Arkanoid.
Yeah, I think that's the one that I took a look at.
Yeah, that was really a lot of fun. I really liked that one, and they came out with a whole bunch of them. Obviously, the Runner title was their most popular because they made a bunch of sequels to that one. I think they're on Runner 3 now. But the original Bit Trip games did come to Switch, $5 a pop, so that's pretty cool. Also, in Japan, they I think this was on the 17th, so it's not quite last week, but close enough. The Aleste collection was released, and I really, really love this. So this is a collection of two Sega Master System games called Power Strike 2, and they were also called Aleste as well, or Aleste. Um, and they also made two Game Gear games called GG Aleste and GG Aleste 2. These games are really, really fun shmups made by Compile, who made Gunnack and Zanuck, and they also made Blazing Lasers for the TurboGrafx 16. They also made like a whole bunch of other shmups, but they're most famous for a series called Zanuck and also Space Mega Force on the Super Nintendo. But anyway, this was another one of M2's Shot Triggers line, which includes Akai Katana Destiny, or it wasn't Akai Katana, it was Ketsui Destiny.
Yeah, that sounds right.
Yeah, Ketsui Destiny, and then there was like a couple other ones, like Battle Gorega, Sorcerer Striker, and who was it? Dangan Feverin was another one of theirs, and Esprade. I've talked about that one as well. But this was great. They ported old games for the Sega Master System and Game Gear, gave them a great facelift, and they gave you all the widgets that they've come accustomed to. To give you all the information about what's going on with your power-ups and all of the different statistics that you've been accumulating, which is really awesome, which weren't features of the original games, obviously, when they were out. But they also, M2 did another, amazing thing where they created a brand new Game Gear game called GG Aleste 3. So it is a brand new Game Gear game that looks phenomenal. It's like amazing. It looks and sounds like better than any other Game Gear game ever. And if you were able to extract the ROM, you could play it on a real system. It really functions well. So it's amazing. They created a new old game. They've done that before in the past. They made an arcade version of Fantasy Zone 2, which was a Sega Master System only game for a long time, and then they made an arcade version 20 years later on original hardware, which is really awesome. They've done other things, they made a new Darius port to Genesis, for the Genesis Mini. They've done a bunch of stuff like this, but they also made it with the original people that made the Game Gear Aleste games, which is great. So I really just kind of wanted to. It's Japan only for now, but I had about $25 left over from a PSN card for my PSN account, my Japanese PSN account. So I just got a little extra so I could buy this game, and I'm really enjoying it because. And you may wonder, why did they make it for the Game Gear rather than the Sega Master System? That's a legitimate question. If you're gonna make one, why that? The Game Gear is actually more powerful than the Sega Master System. It's actually
oh my god.
It's actually a very similar hardware spec. In fact, they had converters where you could just drop a converter in your Game Gear and play Sega Master Systems on games on the go. But the the Game Gear actually has more colors than the Sega Master System, so you can't do the reverse. You can't make a shell that would play Game Gear games on your Sega Master System. It wouldn't work the other way around. So they made it with the technically better hardware. So I was really excited to play this, and I really enjoyed it. So if you're into shmups and you're into a really good story, where where not a the game doesn't have a good story, but a story of how this new thing was put together and created just for fans like me. This is a good one for that. Also, in terms of the fan community, that there are SNES games that have been starting to get patched in order to run better on stock hardware. So like any games that have like bad frame rates or flickering or any other problems like that, a few early games were notorious for that. Like for instance, like Gradius 3. Somebody patched that to use the SA1 special chip, which is the special chip that Super Mario RPG ran on.
Yep.
They made that run like a lot better, so there's no more slowdown anymore.
That's pretty rad.
But so that happened a while ago. Recently, there have been a new resurgence in trying to get these games to run better, and there have been what's called FASTROM patches. Like they're hardware that run the bus a little bit faster, and it's supposed to be kind of like a precursor to getting them ported to the SA1, just kind of like Gradius. It's a modder named Victor Viella has been doing this, and he did it to Super R-Type and Super Castlevania 4, which both greatly need slowdown patches. So Super Castlevania 4 looks beautiful now. Like the rotating hallway level has always been
that's exactly what I was thinking of.
Yeah, has always been a problem, a slowdown problem for people who've played it and fans of that game. And even without the SA1 patch, which will come out later, it runs so much better. Like it's like a night and day thing now. So it's really, really cool. So just be on the lookout for that kind of thing. I really love this kind of thing where they up it, just make a better version of the same damn thing, and it's like brand new to you. Also, I just wanted to give you, Lotus, a moment to talk about Paprium, because we talked about it last week. And,
yeah, speaking of a new old game.
I have not got my copy yet in the mail. I'm still waiting for it. But I wanted to give you an opportunity because we had spoken offline about it, and it's just a fascinating story.
Yeah, I mean, I quite enjoyed the game. It's a new beat 'em up. And it's kind of funny, because when we were talking to Dracologist about it, he said, well, I saw these images online, and we're like, yeah, we don't know if that's what the game will look like. No, it turns out it actually is what the game ended up looking like. The Streets of Rage 2 health bars are, like, just the same, which is a little off-putting, but everything else about the game looks different. You can double tap to run. As far as I know, I'm not 100% sure about vertical rolls. I think I was able to pull it off once, but I don't know if that was just for that character, or if I wasn't doing it right the other times, or what. You can grab people and sort of like flip over them, like the classic Streets of Rage games. The sound quality, whenever there's voice work, definitely sounds higher quality than it used to, because this game... It's something insane.
Compression must be like really advanced.
This is like 80 megs, which is ridiculous.
I think back then it was like an 8 meg cart was like the most. I think that's like the biggest one you could get back then, and I think that was that would be Phantasy Star 4. I think was the biggest one back in the day. Yeah.
Yeah, this is like 80. It's crazy. Now, I will say this does suffer from the syndrome of just throwing enemies after you sometimes, to the point where you're like, all right, but it's very engaging when it comes to actually fighting enemies. It's like the game's designed for a 6-button controller. You can play with 3 buttons, but you're probably going to be more comfortable with 6. You have your attack, you have your jump, but instead of the crowd control move, you actually have a button, the A button, where you pop a pill if you found them around. You have a limited count. And when you do, you greatly power up and can do super moves until this bar runs out. But each time you pop a pill, over your health bar, like, overlaps a blue bar, where if it gets high enough, you could become addicted to the pill. And once that happens, I'm not sure what you're supposed to do about that, like find some curative or something like that. But like, it plays into the... It's not exactly deep lore that the game has, but you're in like a cyberpunk dystopia where drugs are like a big thing and that whole business. What I find interesting is that there are, of course, things you could pick up once they're dropped, like weapons and stuff, like in a lot of beat 'em ups. But what I found a little bit refreshing was that there was stuff like you could break monitors or punch doors, not even break them, to shake them up. There's a lot of like incidental collateral damage you could do, which you don't see in a lot of games of that era. There there's transparencies. I don't know how much of it I'm able to see or not, but I did notice that there were some areas where glass could break, but I could see what was behind the glass even before I broke it, which was kind of nice, even on an HD TV. The note that came with the game says it was designed for a CRT, so I might be missing something, but still.
I'm curious, Lotus. What hardware did you play this on? Was it your Mega SG or what?
The Genesis. Genesis plus Genesis. Sega CD attachment. Yep.
Okay. Was it through a FrameMeister? Or what?
Yes.
Okay. Cool. Okay.
Yeah, because otherwise my TV does not have. Well, the TV has connections for it, but my capture device does not.
Yeah, so I heard that the Mega SG may not be compatible with Paprium, so
really?
I'm a little worried about that. Yeah, because like I mean I do still have my old Genesis, but like I would have to get like completely change up my setup in order to accommodate.
Yeah, that's a nuisance. Yeah, I don't know. I wouldn't know about the Mega SG. I assumed like because it's a hardware emulator that it would work. So I don't know.
No, I think they're doing that on purpose because they really don't want people dumping this game and pirating it.
Yeah, so, maybe.
Yeah, but I just have a quick update here. So Phantasy Star 4 was a 24 megabit cartridge. So,
okay.
Yeah, and that was the biggest one back in the day.
Yeah,
it cost
and again,
like $100 if you wanted to buy it back then.
Yeah.
So, yeah, 80. Jeez.
Yeah, you gotta want it. Yeah.
Yeah.
But also there are some things that become power ups or I should say weapons or rides that I really didn't expect, because you have rides like in Golden Axe where you could get on the little chicken leg or the or just the dragons or whatever. There are a couple things you could ride in Paprium as well, like a little droid wandering around, or there are these really tall guys with roller skates that fight you, but sometimes if you beat them, I guess you earn their respect because they're way tall. They're like twice as tall as you are, but they'll like bend down and like wave you on, like come on, climb my back, and you just ride them, which is pretty goofy. There are these like floating robots, which are like upper torsos of robots, but that's the whole thing. They just float on jet thrusters, and if you beat them, sometimes they just drop down and become armor you could just put on and wear and have power punches. It's quite exciting. There are also branching paths which lead to different final bosses, and I have experienced 2 of them. I believe there's a third, because one thing I find interesting is, you know how in Streets of Rage 1, if you go for the good bad ending, you beat Mr. X, but then you take over his chair, like you become the new Mr. X.
Yeah.
In Paprium, when you beat a boss, there's like a throne in the room they're in, and you claim the throne, but that's more of a signifier that you cleared the story. But what's interesting is that if you go back on a new file, because this cartridge actually has legit save, like it saves your data. Like you know how in Streets of Rage 2, you have a high score, but if you turn the game off, it's gone. You have to like play the game again, immediately if you want to compete with your own high score. This game has a save file for real.
Good.
So what's interesting is if you go back to the character select screen, the character that you took the throne with is not available. Like they're on the throne. You could press a button to dethrone them, but so you could play as them again, but then that area that's claimed will become unclaimed. And I want to see what happens if you claim all 3 areas. I have no idea. I also don't know what happens if you approach your own character on the throne. If you take the identical path again, I'm curious as to where that would go as well.
Huh.
So this game has more potential that has as yet been undiscovered by me. I might just stream some more of that again on Tuesday, meaning I guess tonight. I don't normally do that, but I really want to see where this goes.
You've also said that the music is amazing too.
Music is pretty sexy, yeah.
Yeah. See, this is saying a lot because we went into this kind of being like,
yeah, they're making a retro game and they're really talking it up, which
like,
actually ironically makes me nervous, but they delivered.
That it was like a Streets of Rage killer, and it's just like, no, it's not. Like, stop it, and then they come out and it's fucking good. I don't know about
this is
killer,
genuinely this is genuinely in competition with Streets of Rage 2 and 3. Well, I mean Bare Knuckle 3, Streets of Rage 2.
Yeah, sure.
This is a Golden Axe killer. I'll give you that. Golden Axe is very slow and stiff. I like it, but it's slow and stiff. This game is genuine competition for Streets of Rage, which I never thought I would say about any other Genesis game.
It's legitimately one of the best beat 'em ups on the system, and it just
like again, out, right? Some of the enemy AI can be kind of jank.
I mean, come on.
It gets to a point where like they keep throwing dudes at you, and you're like, all right. But like, man, on a technical level, this game is nuts. Like, I'm very impressed.
Yeah, I knew when you said it. Like, you said on Twitter, like, this game is like freaking awesome. I was just like, oh man, like for you to say that.
Yeah, like, a new fan-made Genesis game. It's cool because it exists, and I have a physical copy. Like, no, this game is actually genuinely really good.
Yeah, it's such a shame that like normal people like that didn't pre-order it 5 years ago don't have access to it, like easy access to it right now.
Because, well, they do, but it's just like stupid expensive.
I mean. That's not easy access. Like,
you can go buy it right now, but it's like.
It's twice the price.
Laughably expensive, yeah.
Yeah.
Like, because the letter that came with the game that I read to you over the phone said that they got screwed from the back end with certain deals, and they had to take losses in certain areas, so that might be trying to recoup their losses, but nobody's paying like 30 or 40 or maybe more for a Genesis game.
Yeah, exactly. Well,
hopefully they get digital distribution.
I think there will be a digital.
There has to be, like, come on.
I mean, I said this to you before. These are the same people that made Pure Solar, which ended up on every system ever after that, including like modern systems at the time and on PC. So, I will bet there will be like an emulated version that you could buy on Steam, at least.
Yeah.
In the near future. And why wouldn't you put this on Switch? I mean, come on. Like some of the best new Genesis games, like you had Zeo Crisis, which was phenomenal. By the way.
Yeah, I should stream that too. I got it on PS4.
I actually went to their. I bought it for Switch. Obviously, that's where we were playing it.
Yeah.
But I also went to their website and bought like the Genesis ROM that you could just put on a flash cart.
Yeah, that's cool.
I did that as well because why not? And they made it really accessible, which was really neat.
That's another game with very good voice quality.
Oh yeah, it does sound good.
Look at the size of that thing.
Yeah, I believe it or not, I don't like playing it on its original hardware. I don't think the
it's basically a twin stick shooter, and even with a 6-button controller, like no.
Yeah, no, it doesn't play well. I tried, and I was just like, nah, not for me, because I like the buttons just aren't made for that type of gameplay.
Like it's cool that you could theoretically do it, but
I think it's better on a modern system.
Yeah.
But it is absolutely excellent as well. So
yeah, it really is.
We've been blessed with some like new like they're not. You can't even call these fan games. They're too good.
Actually, by the way, speaking of like fan games, one thing I thought was kind of funny is in Paprium, if someone throws you or knocks you into the air really hard, if you hold up and jump, you could land on your feet like you could in Streets of Rage.
You can do that in Double Dragon Neon as well now.
Oh, yeah. Clever. But what I thought was funny is that wasn't addressed in the manual as far as I was aware.
Oh, yeah.
So it's like, if you remember this quarter-century-old game, if you're like approaching middle age, then oh boy, little treat for you.
You know what's great is like we're hitting like an era of beat 'em ups like is just like so good. Like Streets of Rage 4 is amazing too. So like I really
respect that game,
it.
But I much prefer 2 and 3. 4 is cool in its presentation.
It's good.
Like, its music is damn good. Like just my play style does not gel with it at all.
I actually really like it, but I mean,
no, it's a great game, but my play style does not it like is not a viable way to win the game.
Oh, okay. Well, I would assume that it would also depend on like what character you were playing as too.
Yeah, I was playing as Axel, who's like the worst character in the game.
Yeah, well, there you go.
If you unlock like Streets of Rage 2 or 3 Axel, he's just as full of shit as he was in his original games, which is kind of nice.
That's awesome.
And Fakafan was showing me like via streaming, he was showing me Adam, like Streets of Rage 1 Adam. And Adam's the only character who's never gone past his original game until Streets of Rage 4. So he doesn't have any like grand upper or dashing or anything. He only has his basic ass combos. So they compensated for that by making him hit like a fucking truck. Like he hits so hard.
That's awesome.
It's ridiculous.
I need to go back and play it. Play like some of the unlock stuff. Because
and if you play the Streets of Rage 1 versions of characters, then your crowd control move, you could summon the cops like in the old game.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah.
I love it. I think Streets of Rage 4 is on sale on PC right now. I might get that because a few people have requested playing that with me.
And I love what they did with the bosses of that game. They handled it very cleverly.
Yeah, they did great. I was not disappointed by that game at all, and I was looking to be disappointed. So, but moving on from that, I just wanted to give some quick impressions of Yakuza Like a Dragon.
Here we go.
I started.
You finally started a Yakuza game.
I played a bit of Zero, but I didn't get very far, and I didn't stick.
Okay.
But I'm playing Like a Dragon now, just because like it's a good jump on point. It's brand new characters.
Well, especially not only that, but it's a good jump off point for you, considering you recently-ish beat Dragon Quest 11, and Yakuza 7 is basically a giant love letter to Dragon Quest.
Yeah, I mean they straight up talk about Dragon Quest in the very beginning of the game, so
Ichiban, the main character, is unabashedly a longtime Dragon Quest fan.
It's basically a big dork. But I've been really enjoying it. I mean, the beginning of the game is just basically like watching almost like a 3-hour-long movie.
Yakuza's pretty notorious for that. The beginning of the game is like, okay, I want you to go to this location, and in fact, every other location is blocked off, so you're like, okay, I guess I'll hold the control stick up and run forward, and then another story scene plays. You gotta get used to that, but once the real game opens up, then you're pretty free.
Well, I played a little bit of Super Hang-On. I didn't waste too much time, but just to noodle around a little bit. I played a little bit of Space Harrier,
your Fantasy Zone, they're all back.
Yeah, but nothing new, which is disappointing.
That actually was quite disappointing,
because they added a game that had never been ported before to Judgment, so...
like every Yakuza game that has the arcade had something new, but... except for this one, as far as I'm aware.
I mean, they did some cool things where they said, hey, you can, like, even from the title screen, if you want to play your friend in Virtual Fighter 2 or 5, you can go ahead and do
that's
that.
Awesome. You don't have to go into the game and pay 100 yen. You just do it. That's pretty great.
Yeah, that's pretty neat.
So, so Yakuza 7 is literally just Virtua Fighter 2 or Virtua Fighter 5 Final Showdown on the PS4, which is pretty wild.
Yeah, and they're beautifully
and some of the other mini games too. I think you could do like mahjong and things like that. It's pretty clever.
But I've been really enjoying it. I've just gotten to the point. So basically, my impression is that Ichiban's story is very similar to the main character of the other Kiryu.
Yeah, there are a lot of allusions to Yakuza 1. Like you don't need to get it. If this is your first Yakuza game, you'll be fine. But like, man, I could tell.
He takes a sentence, a jail sentence for somebody in his clan. Which is something that Kiryu did at the beginning of Yakuza 1.
Yeah,
so.
I think Kiryu might have been framed. It's been a long time. Ichiban just volunteered it because he owed a huge favor to his boss anyway. He's like, this is the perfect time to pay that off.
Yeah, and he similarly is an orphan to Kiryu.
And you know what's also kind of cute, by the way? I somehow missed this. Kiryu wears a white coat and a red undershirt, and Ichiban wears a red coat and a white undershirt.
Yeah. But what is cool is the character is a lot goofier than Kiryu ever was.
Kiryu is
very
stoic to a fault. Yeah, he like there's a scene in Yakuza 2 where a guy like sucker hits him. He just breaks a glass like a bottle over the back of his head. And number one, Kiryu doesn't flinch. Number two, he just very slowly turns his head and looks at the guy. He's like, "Oh shit!" Like Ichiban's a lot more brash and outspoken.
Yeah, and he's like I said, he's kind of like just a big nerd. Like he just clearly loves his job and but he views himself as like an RPG hero, which is pretty really funny. So that's kind of like the way that the game.
Even when you start getting jobs, which is basically the job system in RPGs, like they give you different skill sets and stuff. Even when you go to like the employment center to look for jobs, the guy there hears that you like games and he's like, well, you can imagine the job system works like the job system in a video game, which it literally is. So that was kind of funny too.
Like I'm just like really enjoying kind of like walking through a very realistic looking. I mean, this is nothing new to Yakuza.
Yeah, this is Yakuza 6 depiction of Kamurocho, and now this new town. So we've seen it before, but it's still gorgeous to behold.
It's just really neat. It looks just like a Japanese red light district would. So like it's just really fun going into like the shops, and they have like real like whiskey brands and things like that.
Oh yeah,
it's really neat. So
speaking of real brands, Don Quixote is absent from the game for the first time I think in the entire series. I don't know what that's all about. Yeah.
Yeah, well, it's probably better for them that they don't have very many, because like in the future they can re-release these games without modification and stuff like that.
Oh, it's way too late for that. Do you have any clue how much shit is in these games? Like, it's insane.
Yeah.
Yakuza 6 had like a real life person in it.
Yeah.
Actually, a lot of Yakuza 7. Actually, there are several characters in the game who are like modeled after like the real people, like the real names and everything.
Wow.
Like you're like a couple of your playable characters.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Well, I haven't gotten. I just got out of jail, and I'm just figuring out what like the modern world is like, because you go into jail for 18 years, something like that.
Yes.
What's really funny is you never really think about this, because like I at least I don't like think of like 2001 as being that far back, but it's 20 years. Yeah. It's 20 years. That's when I was in high school, when we were in high school. But like what's really funny is he asks for like a hairstyle that doesn't even exist, and they just fuck it up, because like,
that's why he has anymore. The poofy hair. It's like an accident. Oh, you know what I thought was kind of cute, by the way, speaking of being far in the future, did you get your smartphone yet? Because that's basically like...
No, the last thing that happened was he got his haircut. So
okay, because like the smartphone is like it'll become a considerable part of your menu, like how to quickly call a tab. Like, actually, this was a pretty cool new feature. Normally, you have to go to a cab to use it, but with smartphone, you can just use the cab feature from there. So it's implied that you're just like using like not an Uber, but like a service to call a cab, which I thought was kind of clever. But this is another case where we have an inverse of a Kiryu situation. When Kiryu gets out of jail, a cop is like, I'm going to be watching you, so I want to have tabs on you at all times. And he gives him a cell phone. And Kiryu's like turning it over in his hands. He like doesn't know what it is. And the guy's like, oh yeah, it's a cell phone. Even kids have them nowadays. And Kiryu's like, oh, it's a phone, but smaller and portable. I know how to use a phone, and he puts it away. But when Ichiban gets a smartphone, he's like, well, I know it's a phone, but I have no idea how to use it. So he needs to talk to somebody to like teach him how to use a smartphone. It was kind of great.
So funny. Yeah, I'm really enjoying everything so far. I mean, obviously, I haven't gotten anywhere in the game. I haven't even gotten my second party member or anything like that. But
yeah, that's. I mean, it's not far from now, but you gotta get out of where you are.
But I'm really enjoying the battle system, like what I've experienced of it, and maybe like the 3 battles that I've gotten in.
Yeah, they've all been, well, maybe 1 or 2. I guess you could have gone and looked for trouble, but you probably only did scripted battles up to this point. Like,
yeah, I think
you're basically done with battles until the next plot point hits.
I did get in 1 random battle, and that was it. But
yeah, and you're like, all right, I get it.
But I have been enjoying the battle system because it's a derivative of Super Mario RPG. It has
you can perfect guard.
You can parry and all that stuff. If you time things.
Well,
right,
not parrying, you just better guard. You do not guard. Have a timed. You do not have a perfect attack, unfortunately, but you do have a perfect guard. Yeah, so that's another thing. You gotta learn the timing of the various attacks.
Yeah, there are QTE. Kind of controls.
Oh, that's true. Some of the special moves involve mashing square or carefully timing the pressing of triangle, but regular attacks are just whatever they end up being.
Yeah, exactly. So I've been really enjoying that. I've been having a lot of fun. So I'm gonna definitely continue with it because it's a lot of fun, and the voice acting's phenomenal. I've been playing with subs. Because it's just like the Japanese voice actors for these games are phenomenal, so I just wanted to hear it. But yeah, really, really good stuff. Moving on from that, I just wanted to say that I did watch like the big movies of this week as well, the ones that were released on streaming services, obviously. Wonder Woman 1984 and Soul. I can tell you straight up that Soul is an all-time classic. It's really, 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 really good. I really recommend it. It was one of the best Pixar movies, honestly. I haven't seen a really good Pixar movie in a while. Like, I did like Toy Story 4 quite a bit, but nothing that had hit me like a gut punch like in a while or anything that like was super, super poignant. Like Inside Out was pretty good. But there have been some like duds, not like terrible movies, but just okay in the Disney pantheon. And like Soul was really, really good. It's up there with Toy Story 3. Remember when we watched Toy Story 3?
Why, yes.
Oh man, we like it's just so funny with like the dynamic of the people that were in the theater, because it was just toddlers and their moms and us, like adult men who had grown up with the Toy Story franchise, which
that's the whole thing. Yeah.
I think that was like the whole theme of the movie was just like we were Andy, right? And these were our toys, and these were our characters. And then, man, I'm not gonna ruin this for anybody, but like even though it's an older film at this point, but like when you get to a poignant moment in Toy Story 3, I was just like, man, I really want to cry right now, but I'm out with my guy friend and surrounded by a bunch of toddlers. This is terrible. And then I look over at you and you're bawling. I'm like, all right.
Well, no, I'm not. I'm silent. I'm a silent crier, so I was wiping my eyes.
Bawling for you. You were crying. So like I was just like, oh man, then it's okay. That was a movie.
And I will say that particular scene, it's like it's really laying it on thick. Ugh. Like this is the part where you cry. Like it comes off like that, but it worked.
Yeah, no, absolutely. That's one of the best movies I've ever seen, but I don't want to watch it too often because like it's like a gut punch. But Soul is very poignant, but doesn't. It didn't fill me with dread like Toy Story 3 did. Toy Story 3 was just like, oh my god.
Yeah, that plot got straight up fucked up.
Yeah, I mean, like, the beginning of Up is very similar. Watching the beginning of Up just makes me very upset. But yeah, Soul was excellent. I really, really enjoyed it, and I think, most adults will really like it. I don't think it's much of a kids movie, to be honest, because it's all about like enjoying life for what it is, which is something you don't really think about until you're older. I really enjoyed it. I did see Wonder Woman 1984. I did not. I missed a big chunk of it because I had to walk my dog. So I kind of am not giving a super definitive impression of it, just because I want to give it a fair shake. My impression of it was that it was pretty good, but like not amazing, and
that's kind of a lot of what I've heard. Yeah,
there have been a lot of people that are just straight up calling it garbage, and I don't believe that.
That's I think a lot of that is that like it's not what I hoped it would be.
Okay, yeah.
But I mean, I know what you're talking about, but I think it was like
I think it's an overreaction.
Expecting action hero movie, and you get very little like straight up hero action. I heard that like the very beginning has 2 fight scenes in a row, and then it's like 2 straight hours of not that.
Yeah, it was a much more personal story, which you don't get too many of those in superhero movies.
Especially not from like one of the big 3.
Yeah, exactly.
Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman. It's like, shouldn't she be saving the world or something? So it feels very different.
Yeah, I mean, there's also some kind of bad implications, but like if you
that I heard about, yeah.
If you think about things hard, it's in the realm of like Big. You ever see Big? Like if
with Tom Hanks.
Yeah,
if 100 years ago, yeah.
If you think about that movie too hard, it's
when he's like romantically involved with that one woman.
Yeah,
and you're like he's like 6 years old.
Well, he's 13, but
it's actually considerably older than I thought.
Yeah, he's 13 and he has a physical relationship with an adult woman in an adult man's body.
That's the thing. You see Tom Hanks and this actress, and you're like, okay, but then you're like, wait, but in the context of the movie, though.
Also, like the premise is that like he's faking his own kidnapping because he can't be the Big version of himself at home.
I don't even remember that.
His parents think he's been kidnapped the entire movie.
I completely forgot about that.
But yeah, I mean, Wonder Woman. I'm not gonna ruin, but it has something kind of in the same vein, but like also involves another person against their will involved. So
shit.
So what happens in it, without giving away too many details, is that a person gets brought back from her past via a wish, but he inhabits somebody who already exists in that time.
Oh, I think I do know what you're talking about.
And
by the way, the concept of wishing anything seems really bizarre for like a DC hero universe thing. Well, that opens up all sorts of weird possibilities. So it's like the Infinity Gauntlet. It's like you really shouldn't ever do that.
Yeah, well, the whole movie is about how, those kinds of wishes are terrible.
Okay.
That's the whole moral of the story. But yeah. So this soul it displaces somebody else's soul in their body and gets to live out their life, but.
It makes me think of that existential thing you told me about in one of those Swamp Thing issues.
Yeah, exactly. It's kind of like that. But the implication is that she's now having like a physical relationship with that body, which isn't either of theirs.
Yeah.
He like that soul is using that body as a spaceship for love. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. While this other person's off in La La Land and doesn't know anything about it. I mean, it's a movie, and it's not that dark. If you, but in realistic terms, absolutely a bad thing. Somebody should have thought of it. Somebody should have thought of that. Also, like, in order to have that wish, you don't need to displace a person.
If it's a wish, then just whatever
just
the fuck.
Back.
Yeah.
Just bring it back. I don't get why they needed to do it that way. It's a comic book movie. You can make up your own rules, honestly. But Kristen Wiig did a really good job as Cheetah. She was almost unrecognizable. Like she was doing such a good job. And it was
I never
not
play
a
games
role.
with her, by the way.
What's up?
I never play games with her, by the way.
what are you referencing?
She's a cheetah.
Oh. That's bad.
Got him.
That's up there with if you get the opportunity to play against never mind. I'm not even gonna go there. But yeah.
All right.
I
joke must be even worse than mine.
I had a really, really bad pun that was so bad that I would need to explain it.
Okay.
It just wasn't gonna work. But yeah, I mean, out of the two, Soul is like an all-time classic. I can absolutely tell you, and the music is phenomenal, and like it's very jazzy. And also the score, we were like, this score is awesome. Why is it so good? Like, it turns out that Nine Inch Nails did the score for Soul.
Wow, I can't believe they got the guys from Quake to do the music. It's amazing.
Yeah, it really is.
Wow, I can't believe they got the drummer from, or not the drummer. I can't believe they got the guy, one of the guys who did the music for, or one of the guys from the band that did the music for American McGee's Alice. It's incredible.
Trent Reznor did that? I didn't know that.
No, it was, I might have, there's a chance I might have the wrong band, but Chris Verena.
Oh, no. See, Nine Inch Nails only has 2 people in it. So
then I fucked up. Who was Chris Verena from? I gotta look this up now.
Yeah, I don't know.
I'll look
it's
it
not
up.
Nine Inch Nails, I can tell you that.
I fucked it up.
For the longest time, Nine Inch Nails only
he was in Nine Inch Nails.
Maybe the touring group, but not an official member.
Okay.
Yeah. Because
it said he later reconnected with Trent Reznor, whom he met in high school in Pennsylvania, and I gotta find the part where I mentions Nine Inch Nails. Oh yeah, he's worked as a producer, remixer, or engineer. He's worked with a shit ton of band, a lot. Jesus.
But he's not an official member. Okay, I get it.
Well, he was the drummer from 1989 to 1997.
Oh. Wow. Well,
yeah.
the thing that I read is Nine Inch Nails technically only had one permanent member, and it was Trent Reznor for a really long time, and then Atticus Ross became his partner after that.
Okay.
So yeah, in fact, it says the only 2 members.
Fair enough.
But there must have been touring musicians are
there we go then.
Robin Thicke, Alessandro Cortani, Ian Rubin, Chris Verena. Yeah,
there you go. Okay.
Yeah. So he's a touring.
So he was the drummer. There we go.
Yeah. But anyway, I just thought that was amazing. It's just like a kids movie or an animated movie, Pixar movie with Nine Inch Nails soundtrack. This is pretty sweet. Moving on from that, I just wanted to quickly talk about Gorillaz' last music video.
This was powerful.
for Song Machine, Volume 1. It's called The Last Chord, and it is a straight up, like, it's almost like a gut punch, because, like,
the video especially.
The music video has them returning to Plastic Beach, where a lot of terrible stuff happened to the characters.
Yeah, Plastic Beach, like, it's one of my favorite albums, but the lore is rough.
It's really, really bad. So basically what had happened is the bad guys from what was it? From Demon Days had finally like caught up to everybody and destroyed their studio. And I believe that's how the lore goes. And then Murdoch, who's the bassist and leader of the band, moves them out to the most inaccessible point on Earth. Which is also where a giant mountain of plastic garbage exists in the middle of the ocean. And he basically bought a trash mountain and painted it pink. And put like a futuristic studio on top of it. And then while that was happening, like 2D gets kidnapped, or Noodle gets kidnapped, right?
Noodle gets kidnapped. She's just not there, so Murdoch replaces her with like a robot, and 2D gets like stranded somewhere. And Russell gets infected with chemicals and becomes gigantic.
Yeah, like pollution.
Like everything sucks. And I think like doesn't a giant whale like eat them or something.
Yeah. So what also happens is Murdoch starts being stalked by the rejected fifth horseman of the apocalypse, which is flatulence. And he is going around trying to kill everybody. Because apparently he made a Faustian deal with him in order to become like a gigantic rock star, and that's why the Gorillaz are so popular. So he's trying to collect, and I think he's trying to kill 2D specifically. I think, and so yeah, he's like the guy in the gas mask and the plague mask.
I was wondering who that guy was and where he came from. Yeah.
Yeah. So, and so while this is all happening, everybody is depressed and like losing everything that they want. I mean, the Melancholy Hill, which is the big song from that album,
and Broken.
Yeah, and Broken is happening, and it's all about like basically 2D living with Murdoch, which is an awful thing.
Nobody wants to live with Murdoch, yeah.
But like they need each other. It's like it's an abusive relationship.
Well, that's the whole thing. Murdoch is incredibly abusive, but he needs his band members to have a band.
Yeah, and nobody else can do it.
Yeah.
Like it's an incredibly poignant album about fake people. Involving like fake characters, but that's what makes it so cool. It's a whole story that is very realistic, even though it's not.
Yeah, and then this new video comes along. They return to Plastic Beach, but
yeah, what do you, we should set up how they got there. Again.
Oh yeah, this is something that if you missed it, you missed it. But it was from the video with Beck.
Yeah, Valley of the Pagans.
Yeah, the Valley of the Pagans, where they enter a portal, and they just, like, drive their car through Grand Theft Auto 5, I guess, and they go through a portal and just, like...
They're dropped back on Plastic Beach, and there's like, oh, fuck, we're here now.
Yeah, but it's not just that. It's, like, the distant future. Like, they left it, and they saw the aftermath. Number one, 2D... Like, what's really poignant about this video is that it's about letting go of this shit and getting over it. Like, 2D himself is gigantic and coughs up the giant whale, which is the antithesis of what he was like before, where he was, like, horrified of whales. And, like, when he coughs this whale up, he barely acknowledges it.
Murdoch is flatulence at the beginning of it.
Yeah, Murdoch is. Russell is big, but then shrinks. Noodle is there. But what's interesting is they also see...
Cyborg Noodle is dead.
Well, no, that's what I was going to mention, is did you see what the thing showed before we cut to Cyborg Noodle?
I forget.
Remnants of that submarine from Don Kamatic, where the real-life person who sang in that song...
is dead.
Yeah, he's dead and a skeleton. It's implied, like I was reading the comments of the video, that Cyborg Noodle killed him and tried taking his sub to escape, and I guess it didn't work out.
And he shot her in the head.
Was she shot? I thought she might have just potentially powered down.
Oh, she has a hole in her head.
Okay, so it's over. Yeah, Murdoch actually sheds a tear because it was literally his noodle. Like, he made that robot.
And she was his bodyguard throughout
That's true.
Yeah, so, like, he literally loves that version of Noodle, even though it's a cyborg. She took care of him.
But what's really interesting is that the guest singer for this song comes up as, like, Neptune like some sort of sea god, like with the three-pronged trident and everything, and just blows Plastic Beach the
coral
fuck up.
all over him too, like and with laser eyes.
Laser eyes. Plastic Beach is fucking obliterated. And what's also cute, by the way, is even at the last second of the video, they managed to portal their way back out, but Murdoch is the one who was stranded this time. But wait, the portal opens at the last second, and 2D actually does rescue him as a sort of like reconciliation of how, like, Murdoch fucked him over, but I'm gonna be bigger than that, and it's a big move to help make up, because Murdoch could have been just
this is like
dead.
Really the first time you ever see Murdoch like seem like he's sorry for something.
The closest I've otherwise seen is when he's like composing Broken and feels like shit, and that's not in one of the actual songs, it's in one of the promotional videos.
But him, like, you never really see him cry or anything like that, and he's literally crying because of Cyborg Noodle.
When he's producing Broken, he feels like shit. But yeah, this is like in a music video where he's actually gone that far. And there's also a bit of an implication with Pac-Man, because remember how in the video before that he like injected 2D with something, probably some drug, and then it's implied that Russell just beat the shit out of him, and he never does say sorry, but he knows he fucked up, but he's too big to apologize, so he like gets 2D the arcade machine. He's like, maybe this will do something for you. I don't know.
He's
Murdoch has a very difficult time expressing himself.
I mean, he is an undead, like. There's a reason why he's like green skinned. He drinks poison for fun.
Go back to the really old Gorillaz videos, like what's the one with the Get Your Shoe Shine? What's that video called? What's the song called? Like it's like 99 1000 or something.
19 2000.
19 2000. Yeah, Murdoch is not green in that. It's before he made a deal with the devil.
Flatulence.
Excuse me.
But same kind of thing.
Yeah.
I just, part of, not only is the music just like my favorite music, it just like the lore is just so good, but like it's so inaccessible. Like you like it's comprised of like so many different things from all over the place. In order to get the story, you need to find somebody who's collected it all, including
YouTube comments.
Yes,
sometimes
it's one of those things.
And promotional videos that might be difficult to find. Like Gorillaz might not have it on their own channel. You have to find somebody who like pirated it.
Well, we both got the Gorillaz Almanac as well. So.
Well, in a manner of speaking, that was your Christmas gift to me. So thank you very much.
They just came out with like an almanac that has like a lot of lore bits in it. So I'm really looking forward to just kind of poring over it, because before that, the only other major source of lore was you basically need to go to a wiki and read about it.
That's your best bet, because if you, even the official stuff is like intentionally like incomplete or hard to access.
Or you could have read Rise of the Ogre, which was their like biography book before that. There was that. So, but it's just so interesting and good, and it's like it's poignant and it's just so good, and the music is phenomenal. Like, this album is one of their best.
It's very good.
Every song is good.
Oh, and you know what I noticed, by the way?
Yeah.
This song is called The Last Chord. Is it supposed to be the final song of the album?
I think it is, yeah.
Okay, because I was going to point out at the end of every song, there's like a 3 to 5 second teaser for the next one, but they didn't have one for this one.
No, it's the season finale.
Okay.
But yeah, this was. I never expected to get this album, because like you were there with me at that concert. He said we won't be maybe returning for at least 25 years.
Yeah, we might be doing another long ass hiatus, but no, they actually came back quite quickly and just kept pumping songs out.
And every song,
and a movie.
Yeah,
did a fucking movie.
Yeah.
And a live concert.
And a live concert that you could watch from anywhere in the world. Just phenomenal. That was a great concert, by the way. I don't know if you had a chance to see it, but it was worth the $15. Let's just put it that way.
Oh, sure.
And we have one last thing here.
Yeah, that was kind of funny. Just a day or two ago, Dean Foster, who wrote a bunch of Star Wars books.
Didn't he write The Dig?
I don't know.
Oh, okay.
But like he wrote what he called a treatment, like for Rise of Skywalker, that would have retconned The Last Jedi. Like, if I were to write Rise of Skywalker, here's what it would be, because fuck The Last Jedi. But what's funny to me is that his script not script, but his idea for Rise of Skywalker, like, doesn't sound very good.
It was like, Alan Dean Foster, so not quite. Okay.
Oh,
sorry.
That's quite the coincidence then.
Yeah.
But like Foster, it's like I'm reading from an article. This is comicbook.com, but it says Foster conceived an idea to give Rey an undefined disease that would have meant replacing part of her brain with electronics, making her part droid to explain her quickly acquired skills. That gives her the ability to learn remarkably quickly, and it enhances her existing force powers. That's how she could throw boulders around at the end of Episode 8, even though Luke learned this shit in like a couple days. Also, it allows her to be instantly simpatico with other droids. I thought this would be a really fun story element, as well as explaining how she's able to do these remarkable things. And there would be, like, with Luke, like a big battle on Coruscant with the Emperor's clones, so I guess theoretically, like, a bunch of Snokes or whatever. And it's like, I don't know about this, man.
No, I think this is him. This is the same author.
Oh, is it really?
Yeah, this is the one that wrote the Force Awakens novelization. So yeah.
Okay.
He
but yeah, like
guy.
I'm reading this idea and I'm like,
It sounds even worse than what we got.
Yeah, I mean,
honestly.
Well, this kind of depends, because what we got was like a hastily thrown together, like plot elements hastily resolved, plot elements abandoned, like incomplete, like this. It feels like they could have been smoothed out. Like, what the fuck was this? His idea sounds more coherent because he hadn't tried actually making the movie yet, but it also sounds dumber. Rey's part droid. That explains why she's good with the Force, even though Luke is immediately good with the Force. Like, when he's training with the remote on the ship, he gets stung once, and then he deflects 3 fucking shots from it blindfolded.
You know what it is that it's trying way too hard and being way too complicated. You can really explain these things, like, very easily.
How is Rey so good at the Force? I don't know. She's just good. Luke was good. Anakin's the prodigy. Anakin was the Jesus child. Anakin was calling all those hologram things without looking when he was like Jake Lloyd age. Like, what the fuck do you want?
He wanted Turbo Man really badly.
Oh, that was him.
Yeah. We were watching Jingle All the Way last week, me and my wife, and
that's all. That movie's all right.
And I was like, "Is that Jake Lloyd?" And she's like, "Who?" And I was like, "Exactly."
Are you an angel?
Oh, fuck! It's not his fault.
Let's try dressing up my dad as Turbo Man. That's a good trick.
Turbo Man, that movie is all right until the end, and then it gets into Looney Tunes territory.
It's kind of my favorite part, though, when he's fighting with his working jetpack against Sinbad, who's shooting stupid discs at him. Why do their costume parts work?
Yeah, how do you have a real jetpack? Like,
that's so funny to me. This? It's like, what is this?
A bomb goes off.
Turbo Man could literally fly.
Like, Sinbad, like, tries to fool police by saying that there's a bomb in the mail. And he runs away, and there's actually a bomb in the mail. It explodes in the police chief's face, and it's like an exploding cigar. Like, he just gets
he's got like his face is black, and then just like wah wah.
It's like, what is this movie? Like, it was very realistic up until that point, and then it just goes off the fucking
and up until
rails.
Arnold fights all the Santas.
Well, I actually like that.
And the one big muscular Santa.
Yeah, also, how'd you get this guy that makes Arnold look small?
Yeah, for fucking real. That's crazy.
Like, the guy is a truck as it is. Like,
did you ever see that picture with Arnold Schwarzenegger?
Andre the Giant.
Yeah, Arnold Schwarzenegger in his Conan gear next to Andre the Giant, and I think Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, and Arnold looks small.
He's
it's
6'2". He's a very tall, regular human being.
Yeah, and one of them is a tall basketball player, and the other guy is called the Giant.
He literally couldn't stop growing until they
he's huge.
Surgically had to stop it. Wow. But yeah. Oh, and didn't you have a quick announcement about Hexen? Wasn't there like something quick about Hexen that happened this week?
Oh, just the fact that GOG now has Hexen 1 and I think 2 and Heretic.
Yeah, and Heretic.
Is this the first time Heretic's been like re-released ever?
No, I have it on Steam.
It's been on Steam? Okay. Because I was very excited to see this.
Heretic 2 still isn't anywhere. That's the missing one.
There are probably like 15 people who are sad about that.
It's not a good game, first of all. It's just people want it for completeness.
I really thought that Hexen was Heretic 2, and it is not.
It does say it's
Beyond
called Beyond
Heretic.
Heretic. Yeah. Hexen 2's not very good either.
Oh, really?
Yeah, nah. Hexen and Heretic are great. Their sequels are not. Yeah, but anyway. I think we have an overly long podcast at this point. I thought it was going to be short, but we got into some deep Gorillaz lore here. But I am quite okay with it. Anytime I can talk to Gorillaz, I can't believe you're into it as much as I am. It's just so great.
Yeah, I got into it way late, but when I went in, I went all the way in.
So good. That is the show for this week. Please remember to subscribe to the Corrective Consciousness YouTube and SoundCloud pages. While there, please give us likes, thumbs ups, and 5-star ratings on iTunes. It helps promote and spread awareness of the show, and it helps keep the show going. You can also catch us on Thursday for our sister podcast, where we will be wishing you a Happy New Year. It'll be the 31st when Corrective comes out. And we're going to take a break from Spider-Man. We'll return sometime in the future, but I really wanted to get my James Bond on. So please tune in for that. And this is going to be, of course, exploring everything about James Bond, the books, the video games, the movies, obviously. So we'll dive into that. Finally, you can friend me as vysethebold on pretty much everything.
And you can follow me on my YouTube channel, Lotus Prince. You can hit me up on Twitter at Lotus Prince. And finally, if you're interested in seeing my videos early, speaking of which, new Let's Play is coming up.
Hell yeah.
Little hope. It's happening.
Nice.
I've seen my videos early, getting in on exclusive live streams, selecting upcoming games for me to Let's Play, or getting in conversations with me and other patrons on Discord, then perhaps consider swinging by my Patreon accounts, which can be found at patreon.com/LotusPrince.
Awesome. Well, we will be catching up with you on Thursday for some Bond goodness. I guess
you're trying to think of a pun and fuck it.
Well, I was trying to. I was going to say male bonding, but like.
Oh yeah, I see what you're. Yeah, no, I'd better not. Yeah.
But it's like I don't want to alienate anybody. So even though it's a joke, but yeah, we'll catch everybody then.
Until next time, everyone.
All right, catch ya.